In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 spiritual things that I've personally learned in 2020. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and hello if you're new. Make sure you subscribe, that way you'll never miss out on another video. And if you're coming back, then thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you. Today we're going to be talking about 10 things I've learned, 10 things I've learned that really help your spirituality. It helps you inward, and when we can help ourselves inward, then our outward reality has no choice but to change. So these are things I've learned, and I want to share them with you, and I want you guys to comment if you resonate, if you've been through the same thing this year, if you've learned the same things, or you know what you learned in 2020. I really want to know, so talk to me down below. But yeah, so even as spiritual people, you're still constantly learning, and even though like I'm here on YouTube and I talk about spirituality and tarot and herbs and all that stuff, doesn't mean that I'm still not learning. I'm constantly learning, and I make sure that I am constantly learning. That's why I wanted to make this video, because every year we learn new things, every day we learn new things, but when we look back at 365 days and then we see the way we've evolved and everything we've been through, and we're like, damn, at the time we thought this, and then we actually pulled through like this. Like, dang, we thought there was no hope and something showed up and just saved it, like miracle. Like, you know, just think back on your year, and what you've learned, what has happened, what you have overcame. I think the end of the year is a time that everybody should be reflecting on things like that. You want to start off the new year knowing yourself in the past year, if that makes sense. But with that being said, I do want to get into it. 10 things, specifically spiritual things, that I've learned in 2020. The first thing I learned is, if you feel negative energy, you have to do something. You cannot just do nothing. Like, you can't just wake up and just be like, dang, I feel really off and I feel really low. I'm in a bad mood. You feel angry, you feel sad, whatever it is, anxious. And then you go on about your day and you don't do anything to change it, but yet you just dwell in it and you sink in it deeper and deeper and deeper. That's not healthy. That's very toxic, and a lot of us do it kind of because we don't know any other way. For me, I've learned, as soon as you feel it, do something. And it could be just changing the scent of your environment. Air freshener, room spray, candle, incense, sage, Palo Santo. Clear the energy with something like sage or Palo Santo. Do a candle to release the negative energy, or to release that feeling. When you do something, no matter how small it is, you are sending a signal into the universe and into your subconscious that there's something that it's not fitting with you, and you're creating a shift, and so you're letting it be known that you're creating a shift. So do something. It doesn't matter however, like for me, I would burn sage or Palo Santo or incense, or I will prepare a candle, or I will just go and stand at my altar, burn bay leaves. I'll stand at my altar, talk to, the spirits. It's just do something. You have to do something, because you have to let it be known to everyone, everything, every being, every energy, that this is a feeling or an emotion or something that is not, you don't like it. And so you're letting it be known that whatever is needed to change it, you're ready, and you want to change it. The second thing that I've learned in 2020 is, this is something I'm still struggling with. It's talk about the things that are hard to talk about. And I also realized, even if you don't speak it, because I know some of us have a hard time with that, but write it. If you don't have the courage to express yourself honestly, or if you're scared to express yourself honestly, or if you don't even know where to start, or like how to even express, or even what to even express, then use things like crystals, herbs, candles. Use these spiritual tools, these natural tools to open the roads for your communication. It's so important to release what's within you, whether it's by talking about it or journaling about it. We can't keep it in because it clogs things up, creates blocks, turns into something big, and it manifests even more of the same energy. So we can't keep those things in. So let it out, talk about it, communicate. Hence why I'm wearing lapis choker. This is charged and blessed, and if you're interested, these may be up in my shop. If they're not, then they will be up very soon because I like to charge these first. This is for communication, throat chakra, being able to speak and communicate and use your voice, authentic to yourself, and then like knowing how to express what you're feeling. That's an important thing too. So I think that's something I learned that was so important, but I never know how to express myself. I know how to express myself to myself, but not outside of myself. And that's where I have been using lapis. That's a great one for expression, communication, talking, voice. And then you use herbs like basil. Basil helps harmony and peace. And then it just helps you talk. Holy basil is a really good one because it merges your mind, body, and soul. And when those things are at peace with each other, then you don't have a problem speaking your truth. And it could be in the sweetest, gentlest way, but make such a powerful impact. The third thing that I learned in 2020 was you can't help everyone. Especially you can't help people who are not willing to help themselves, or they just want a quick fix, or they just kind of dwell in negativity and then they just need somebody to dwell in it with them. Sometimes when you try to help someone, certain people can drain your life force energy, and it's certain people, it's not even their fault. It's just how they're reacting to their emotions or their life events. Sometimes it's not anybody's fault, but you also have to pay attention to the fact that you can't help heal everyone. You can't help everyone, especially you can't heal anyone. What I mean by that is like emotionally, mentally, and stuff. You can help create shifts in their mindset, and you can help, give them guidance and clarity and advice and stuff. But in the end, ultimately, it is their mind that is making their choice for their life. No matter what information is thrown at them, they have the choice to take that and to use it as they will. And so sometimes you give all the advice you can and you give all the clarity you can, and still you can't make, you know what I'm saying? You just cannot help everyone. Sometimes it becomes like an energy vampire type of a connection where they just drain your life force energy. And what happens is it leaves you feeling weak, it leaves you feeling burnt out, tired, deprived. What I picture is like a dehydrated fruit. But yeah, sometimes if you feel yourself being drained and tired from a person, then it's time to step back, and that's okay. The fourth thing I learned was the power of writing things down. I always knew the power of writing things down, but I feel like this year, especially towards the beginning of the year, I forgot about it. I stopped doing it, completely stopped doing it because I was too busy. So I stopped writing in my journal for such a long time. And then my boyfriend actually got me a journal for, I think, my birthday. And I got back into it. And actually on Patreon, we do weekly journaling. So if you're interested, we use tarot, we use a bunch of cool stuff for our journals. But yeah, the power of writing something down. There's such a sacred power in writing something down. You're making it into a tangible form. You're literally weaving magic with ink. And so for me, journaling was something that when I did it, it helped me understand myself. It helped me get things out. It helped me express myself and talk about anything I needed to talk about without any criticism, without anybody contradicting what you're feeling or saying or thinking, without anybody judging what you're feeling, thinking, or saying, or whatever, without anybody telling you should do this or you should do that or you need to do that. So it's a personal, safe space for you to express yourself. It's a conversation between you and your spirit. And your spirit is divine. Your spirit is like, it's your gods and goddesses that you work with. It's the deities you work with. It's your ancestors. So it's so important to connect with that voice. I actually credit a lot of my healing and understanding of myself to journaling and writing things down. It's very powerful, and that's a big thing I learned this year, is because when I got back into it is when I noticed myself finally slowing down, healing, understanding, and getting more clear. Otherwise, I was like a chicken with their head cut off, just running around, not even knowing where the heck I'm going. So journaling really helped me just bring myself together, ground myself, kind of discipline myself, but in my own way. The fifth thing that I learned this year is mental health is just as important as physical health. And maybe just kind of think like whenever we're physically injured or like have physical issues, then we get to take time off for work, or but when it's mental health, then so many times it gets put on the back burner. And I think mental health is just not, if not even more important than physical health. One thing I learned is that it's up to me, nobody else. It's all up to me to nourish, take care of, and feed my mental health. Nobody's gonna do that for me. Nobody should be doing that for me. That's another thing I learned. Nobody should be doing that for me. I learned that you have to take the time out to rest, retreat, relax, solitude. Like, things like that are important for your mental health. And it's okay, and it's so needed to do things to make sure you have a healthy and joyous mind. Also, watch what you're feeding your mind, the news. What kind of content are you consuming? Is it gossip? Is it negative? Is it just pure crime stories? Like, watch what you're feeding yourself, because you are inviting that energy. That's why I said crime. Like, for me, I notice if I watch way too many crime stories at once, then I get into like a negative mind space. But that is my guilty pleasures, watching like Bailey Sarian, Kendall Ray, and I will binge watch it for hours. But then I will need to reset my mind and to watch something else, because it's crime, it's negative. So yeah, watch what you're feeding your mind. And even if you like watching things like that, gossip or drama or like crime, whatever, make sure that you do like a mind reset, or light a candle, or keep some black crystals nearby or something. The sixth thing that I learned is to be independent. And stop listening to everyone and anyone. Listen to your own thoughts and trust your own thoughts. Another thing that I've always known this, but I think I saw it more this year, and I just really learned from it a lot, is spiritual advice and spiritual guidance and spiritual clarity. Watch who you go to, and watch, just be careful, because say you want to get love work done, and then you go to somebody that is struggling in their love life, or that they, what I'm saying? Like, watch the energy of the person that you're getting advice from, of what you're getting advice from. Or say you're getting financial advice from somebody that is always losing money. You need to watch where your advice is coming from. Be independent, research things, look up things, read books, educate yourself. These are things that flourished in my life in 2020. I'm so grateful, because I got to read books, and I got to research, and I got to learn, and I fed my mind so much knowledge this year that gave me so much independence, and I loved it. And that was probably a really, really big lesson I learned in 2020, is education and knowledge and being independent, and it's so powerful. The seventh thing that I learned this year is less is more. So I was a clean person, and I like to have things organized, but it wasn't until I was on my own that I truly learned I wasn't, even though I thought I was. When I can like set up my environment the way that I want to, then I realized I don't like a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff stresses me out. Lots of like materialistic things gives me anxiety. And so I threw away so many things. I let go of so many things, and I just minimalized. And I have a lot less things. And I find that like it's physically, it allows energy to flow more in your house, in your home. You know, energy doesn't get stuck in clutter or like stuck in a pile of dirt or something. It's free to roam, and it's really nice when your environment is clean and minimal and organized and set up nicely. Especially for me, it helps my mind calm down. Also, what I learned is it's okay to lessen your workload. And I think that's something I'm still learning. Like, even saying that out loud makes me uncomfortable because I feel like bad. But it's okay to lessen your workload sometimes, because you got to give your mind the ability to quality over quantity. Like, I realize I'm not the type of person that can do a bunch of things at once. Maybe I was before, but as I evolved and grew, especially spiritually, I can't do that. I lose my mind. I go crazy. I can't do that anymore. I can't do this and this and this and this. Like, no. And I'm a Libra too, so I need that balance between like, okay, I'll do this right now, and then I'll do that, and then both will be done. Instead of, let me do this right now, and then half-ass it, not even finish it, and then go do that. Like, the beginning of the year, I was doing that so much, and I lost my mind. I went crazy. Like, I was just stressed out all the time. So I lessened my workload. And in turn, it was good for me and for my career and for you guys too. I was able to produce better content. I was able to come up with a journaling idea for my Patreon. I was able to come up with new video ideas. It just refreshes everything. Less is more. The 8th thing that I learned is some things take time to release, to purge, to heal. And this is something that was hard on me, and still kind of trying to make peace with it, because I was so hard on myself that, okay, why am I not moving forward from this? Why am I not moving on from this? And I just needed to understand that I needed to give myself time. I can't just heal something overnight within myself, or flip a switch and forgive someone overnight for something. It doesn't work like that. And that was a big thing I had to learn, is it doesn't happen overnight. And another thing, you have to be nice through it all. You have to be nice through your healing to yourself. Another thing is boundaries, saying no, being comfortable to say no. Also, if something's not making you happy, if something's not resonating with you, or you just don't want to do it, then say no and don't do it. That's a big thing that I learned this year, because sometimes we can't say no because we're not allowed to, or we're afraid to say no, or we feel guilted into saying yes. And I think that was the case for me for majority of my life. And so for me now, unlearning that pattern, and then learning to create boundaries, and learning to say no, and then learning, okay, when should I be saying no? When is the right time for me to say no? You have to get to know yourself and make these boundaries and stuff. So that for me is something I'm doing right now. So that's another thing that was a huge lesson, is boundaries and saying no. The 9th thing that I learned in 2020 was to spend time with your thoughts. A lot of this year, especially in the beginning, I avoided this, big time. I avoided getting into my own head. I didn't want to, so I convinced myself to always stay busy because I was too afraid. So for somebody else, it could be you're always too busy and you're not giving yourself the time to go into your head and process your thoughts. Or sometimes you're so afraid that you don't want to do it, so you distract yourself, or those thoughts come up and then you reach for a drink or something, we don't spend time with our thoughts. And that's a big thing that I learned in 2020, because I found myself avoiding it so much, and I've never avoided it this much. My own thoughts sometimes scared me. So I realized that it's really, really, really important to sit down with your thoughts. For me, for the type of person I am, I have to do it alone. So, I mean, however it is for you, you can write it down. You can, talk to a counselor, therapist, talk to a loved one. But for me, I have to go in solitude. And I think it's very healthy to be able to go inwards and to allow yourself to think. And no matter what thoughts come up, you can sit with them. And that was something I avoided. I didn't like. I'm getting chills while I'm saying this because that's how uncomfortable it makes me. But you have to sit with your thoughts, and that's a big thing I learned. A few ways that I like to sit with my thoughts, or like be with my thoughts, so that I can process them and organize them, store them away, or keep the ones I want up in the forefront. I do that when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning, because I'm in my head, but I'm still doing something. Or I'll do it when I'm taking a bath, because I'm relaxed and just all that's there is me and my thoughts. I also journal, and I did this I think twice this year. Is I just gave myself all day on the couch, and that was like the hardest thing, because throughout the day I noticed myself, I would get super anxious because I would feel so guilty and bad that I'm sitting on the couch and not doing something productive. So it's still a learning struggle for me, but it's very important to get to know your inner voice, because your inner voice, it's the gods and goddesses you work with, it's the deities you work with, it's the energies you work with, it's your spiritual team, it's the divine. So we have to be comfortable with that voice. We have to be able to talk to that voice, communicate with that voice. We have to let that voice express itself. So that was something I learned. The last thing that I learned in 2020, well, there was a lot, but these are like the top 10, is it's important to replenish your life force energy. And the more I work with Kali energy, the more I see that, because she deals a lot with blood, and blood is life force. And noticing throughout the year the way that I found myself getting burnt out, tired, drained, in a bad mood, low vibration, it happened so often. And I see because I was burnt out, because I got tired. Those things take our life force. Those things take our energy. And we're not taught to replenish that energy, right? We're just taught to do this and do this and do this and exert all of our life force energy, but not how to put it back in. And so it's important. I learned that it's important to replenish that. And how I do that is sleeping, eating good, drinking more water, drinking tea, eating better, taking time to yourself, playing with my animals, laughing is probably the best way. Having fun, doing joyous things, doing joyous activities, they fuel your life force, they grow it, they enhance it, they bring it back to life. It gives you life. So you have to replenish your life force energy. You can't just like go throughout your day doing this and then doing that and then doing that and then not replenishing. And I feel like everybody does that. Nobody replenishes their energy. And that's something I learned, that it's okay. Not even just it's okay, it's a necessity. So take the time to replenish your life force energy, however that may be for you. So these are 10 things that I learned in 2020. Let me know what you guys learned, if you guys learned the same things, if you resonate, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon.